I'm talking today in this video about physical versus digital games on PlayStation 5, on Xbox Series X, on games like that, or games like, where is it here? Games like that. But I realized something that I can't remember when I bought the last physical, well, let's say it like this, the last CD-ROM on the PC. I can't remember when I bought my last physical game on the PC. And what I like to say with this is, it's quite normal, absolutely normal nowadays, that we don't have any physical releases on the PC anymore. And I'm not even aware of if this is still happening. I mean, put it in the comment section. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some companies actually releasing games still on a physical CD-ROM. And I'm not talking about like a Steam file or whatever and a code on the CD. I'm really talking about a physical version of the game where you can just without any internet connection you install the game and you can start playing as it was supposed to be with this one here. Oh, anyway, different story. So I can't remember. I can't remember when this was the last time. And it is nowadays quite normal that we have Steam, GOG, Origin, whatever, you know, Electronic, Rockstar Game, all the companies having their launcher and there is no physical game anymore. Everything is fine with digital. So why is it so hard for me then to actually say goodbye to the physical games on the console? And yeah, I did a little bit of background checking, of course, and I found my reasons actually why, and yeah, I like to share this with you. Okay, so first of all, because I know this question will come up, what you can see here in the background is first of all my G2, LG G2, and this is just, that's the normal picture, screensaver, not picture saver, screensaver from Windows 11. That's it. I think the name is called Mystify or something like that. That's all, okay? Looks actually really, really cool. So the first thing what I like to talk about is price. Price. So money what you have to spend to buy a physical edition versus a digital edition. And I'm not quite sure about the situation in the US or somewhere else in the world, but here in Australia, I need to repeat this, I'm not in Austria, okay? I'm in Australia. The situation here is that most of the time, maybe 99% of the time, the physical edition is actually cheaper than the digital one. Okay, and if you don't believe me, then let's just show this on this example. I paid $89 for Final Fantasy 16 on a PlayStation 5. I bought it in the shop. The digital version, the cheapest one, is $114 Australian dollars. So now you have to explain to me why a digital version is actually more expensive than a physical version. I don't get it. I mean, I'm getting a nice disc, a nice cover. I'm getting even advertising to Forspoken. I don't know why, but I'm getting all this stuff cheaper, and this is most of the time the case, and even the prices are the same. Then explain to me why our digital version is not cheaper, because you don't have all this plastic, you don't have to manufacture all this stuff, you don't have to ship stuff and. So why is it not cheaper? And I'm not denying that you have great sales, of course, when it comes to digitals or the PlayStation Network or Xbox store or something like that. You have great sales. I'm fully aware of that, and I'm buying digital copies. Don't get me wrong. I'm buying a lot of digital copies on sale, okay? But when it comes to new releases, there's no way that I ever had or that I ever saw that the digital version PlayStation Network or Xbox was cheaper than the physical one. So, and on this example and many more, the same counts for games like this. It really doesn't matter, but you can see on this example, you spend less money, and now you have the big advantage, you can actually resell this game without any problem, because we have shops here where you can actually trade in games and you get a new one. Oh, let's say that you trade in maybe 2 or 3 games and you get a new one, okay? So it's possible. With digital versions, that's not possible, not at all. You can sell maybe your online account or whatever, but to be honest, who is doing this? I don't know. So that's one of the biggest reasons for me actually to think, or why I believe that physical copies are very, very important over digital versions. But again, then on the other hand, we have Steam and all the other clients on the PC, and it's completely normal. And I have to say that in terms of prices, I'm not, how should I say, Steam sounds reasonable here in Australia, okay? Maybe I got used to it, you know, from the prices, but we hardly have games over $100, you know what I mean, on Steam, which is already ridiculous. I mean, come on, you pay for this game, again, digital version of $114. That's stupid. A digital version, you have nothing. You don't have anything, you know what I mean? Maybe you get a download content, but I have the same here. I received the same download content. Anyway, so this is one of the biggest things or biggest reasons for me why I like to keep physical copies, but maybe that's just my opinion. Okay, so let's talk about one of the biggest downsides what I see in a digital version. So first of all, you don't own anything. You have just a license and it can be revoked, this license. I don't know if this ever happened or if this will be ever happened, but it's quite simple that someone can do this. Okay, so just because you bought a game on Steam, that doesn't mean it belongs to you forever. I mean, maybe by law. You don't get me wrong. You know, it's probably very, very hard to, or let's say like this, it's probably quite simple to revoke a license to a game. And then, of course, for you, it's very hard to get this license back because you probably don't want to fight this in court because it's ridiculous, over $80. But you get my point. It is quite simple to revoke a digital license. And again, I don't know if this ever happens, and I hope it will never happen, but it is easy like that. Physical version, no one can take your game. Or maybe a thief can take your game, but you get my point. So no one can take your game and you own it. That's your game and you can do whatever you want with your game. You can now share it with a friend, and I get this, yeah, we have game sharing on the PlayStation and also on the Xbox PC and stuff like that, but to be honest, this is quite simpler, you know, you just give it to someone and he give it back to you, or maybe not. It's just simpler, okay, than setting up game sharing and stuff like that. I hope you get my point where I'm getting to, or where I'm coming from. So physical copies having just advantages in a couple of things like that, in my opinion. And revoking the license, as I mentioned already, is for me a thing where you never know what is happening in the future. You know what I mean? I mean, we're just talking about a game, and it's not a big drama if you lose this game by revoking, or because someone revoked the license, but it's a little bit of a, it's not a nice thing. And then there's something else what we should consider: shops. Shops from retail shops, like here in Australia we have eBay Games, and eBay Games is just selling actually games and merchandise. That's all what they're doing. And also they selling, of course, a lot of heaps of used games, second-hand games. So if in the future, and I mean it will come like that, so we will have just digital consoles next time. I'm almost quite sure about that. And again, I'm not supporting this, but anyway, it will, PlayStation 6, Xbox, whatever the name is, will be completely digital. I'm quite sure about that. And what about those shops then? Because over the time, maybe not immediately, but over the time, they will disappear. They will just disappear, and many shops are getting lost. I'm not saying that those people are not finding or can get another job, but that's a thing which is a little bit sad. And not just because of the jobs, it's also because of, and I'm trying to pronounce this word correctly, nostalgia. Nostalgia, you know, I hope I'm pronouncing this in the right way, but I remember very clearly when I was younger, much younger, we rented movies back then, you know, on CDs, you know, Blu-ray. No, not Blu-ray. Oh my God, there was no Blu-ray. On DVD. DVD. We went actually to a shop, like, I think it was called Blockbuster in US. Can't remember the German name. There was a smaller, you know, not a big franchise. We had smaller retail shops or smaller shops. And we met there on a Friday evening or Saturday evening with friends, and then we talked and we had fun, and then we decided to get a movie, and it was just very, very great actually at the time back then. Nowadays with Netflix and whatever, you don't have this anymore. So, and the same is of course when you have maybe some shops where you're going since years, and you know the people there, and you met maybe friends there, and then the shops are gone. So that's something what we also need to keep in mind. I mean, at some point all those shops, they are just selling games, PlayStation 5, Xbox games. At some point they are completely gone. And then of course we have collections. Collections are, yeah, some people are collecting games. I don't have a big collection, to be honest, because sometimes I'm trading games into afford new games, you know. That's how I'm collecting games, not really, but that's what I'm doing, okay? So some people having a big collection, and they're extending their collections all the time. So with the newer consoles, and again, I'm very sure they are just digital only, we don't have this anymore. And this is sad, of course, because I'm not a big collector, but I know that some people, they love doing this. And if this is gone, that's another disadvantage in my opinion with just digital only. But I have not just negative things about digital, we have also a couple of very positive things. And now let's talk about one of the positive things when we just have digital only games. Environment, because we don't need to ship games, we don't need to produce games, we don't produce waste and stuff like that. Okay, because also there's always the plastic waste around and stuff like that. So this is a positive thing, okay? Fully admit on that. If the impact or on the climate change or whatever you want to call it, how big it is, I don't know. Maybe it's absolutely nothing, but I mean, that's something, what is a positive thing? Because if you don't have to do something like, producing and shipping, and then you have to waste and whatever, then of course it's good for the climate, or it's good for the planet. But again, I don't think the impact is that big, but that's one of the positive things. And the next thing is actually the availability. Availability, in my opinion, is of course much better on digital games compared to physical ones. And what I mean with availability is not necessarily that you can download the game or buy the game whenever you want. I mean, that's of course also an advantage, because you can buy it at any stage, in the middle of the night, whenever, yeah. But the most important thing is, in my opinion, is when you can start playing the game. Because in terms of, or in regards, or as an example, Final Fantasy 16, I bought it at physical version, and I was just able to play it actually when I picked it up. And the store was opening at 9 AM. That means I need to be there, I need to pick it up, I need to go home and stuff like that. And if I would buy it digital, I would be able to play it already hours and hours, because I think it was actually released at midnight on the very same day. Okay? So this is something, of course, what is a big advantage in my opinion, because, and this is also something what I keep in mind, of course, in going further with my channel, because at some point, of course, you like to test the games as soon as possible. I mean, I hope that at some point I'm getting some review copies and stuff like that, but that's something what some people, of course, considering. They don't want to wait. They're just buying the game because then they can start playing maybe a couple of hours earlier. And it sounds like a first world problem. Yeah, and it is a first world problem, but that's a thing what we need to keep in mind. Availability is much better on the digital versions compared to the physical ones. And yeah, I'm aware of that. Maybe if they taking the game off the store, of course, then you can't buy it anymore. But we're talking about games like this at the moment, okay? So they are not getting taken off from the store in the next 10 years, probably, okay? So again, digital versions, availability, big advantage. So the last topic today is convenience. Convenience in terms of, yeah, you don't need to swap CDs when you have only digital games, because this can be a big reason for you maybe to just buy digital games. Because let's say you play a lot of different games on your PlayStation, Xbox, and maybe you have the expansion slot used with a big SSD, so you can install a lot of games. And if you play a lot of different games, you don't need to swap any disc. I mean, again, sounds like a first world problem, and yes, it is a first world problem, but it is a problem, okay? So, and maybe that's a reason for you to buy digital only, okay? And yeah, why not? For me personally, not a big problem actually, because I hardly play so many games. I am focusing on one game, but I have also to admit, Diablo 4, I bought the digital version, and the reason is because I like to play it on my Xbox Series S as well, and there's no disk drive, okay, unfortunately. So, but you can see where we're going to. You know, we will have just digital consoles, but again, I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of digital only, to be honest. Okay, my friends, so that's it for this video, and I hope I actually covered all my topics. Intro, price. Yeah, I think we did this. Jobs, everything. If you have anything else, put it in the comment section, because yeah, I like to know, of course, what you think about this topic. And I know that let's talk a little bit about facts, because I forgot to do this actually. So the last info what I had actually, that more than 90% or roughly 90% of the games what are sold worldwide are digital versions, okay? 90%, okay? That means I'm actually not the majority at all, not at all. So the majority buys digital only because of convenience, because of availability, maybe because of better sales, because maybe Australia is just bloody expensive when it comes to digital versions, maybe. But anyway, that's the fact, okay? And the other fact what I read just a couple of days ago, that I think Xbox, or they actually closing a factory in Brazil. Was it in Brazil, where they actually manufactured games, physical copies, okay? So that means in the future you can't buy any physical game in Brazil anymore for the Xbox. Not quite sure about PlayStation, but that's the trend. That's what we seeing more and more happening. And yeah, it's we can't change it, because even now, yeah, we can change it, because if now all the people would start to buy physical games and not digital games anymore, they would actually build factories again. But that's how it is. I mean, at the end, okay, we got used to Steam, and I think it's working great. Steam is not a problem at all, but again, please keep in mind with all the negative things. So even you don't have an internet connection, you are actually able to play this game, okay? If Steam is down or something else, you can't play it all. Well, that's actually not true, huh? You can start a game on Steam if you're offline, correct? Yes, I'm very sure. But you can't install it. Anyway, there are always disadvantages and advantages on both sides, okay? So I just know we will have the day will come, and I'm very sure it's with the next consoles, that we have no physical discs anymore. But if this is a good idea or a good thing, I don't think so. Thank you very much for watching me. I see you guys next time. Bye.